Welcome to another episode of Compa Financial Therapy. My name is Daniel. I'm here with my compadre Mike. Hey Mike, how was your week this week?
I'm good. How are you, Danny?
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I was watching the Olympics this morning, so it was good.
How was that coming? I haven't seen him.
Yeah, it was okay. It was kind of mellow. It was nothing exciting. There was not that many people in the crowds.
Did they have anything like they usually have like an opening show or anything like that?
Yeah, but it wasn't as intricate. The stage or the stadium was kind of half empty.
Right. Social
So
distancing.
yeah,
But they got some COVID stuff going on over there.
yeah. So at least they're doing it.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I was excited to watch the space flight, Jeff Bezos space flight with Blue Origin.
Oh yeah, I did get to see that. And
Did you watch it?
Yeah. He was with his brother, and then the oldest person and the youngest person ever, right?
Which is funny. And I give the lady, the lady, right, the old lady, the one that was on it, I give her credit for going out there.
Oh well, yeah. It takes guts to be able to withstand that 5Gs.
And probably a few Pampers, but it's okay. I wouldn't have done it. Personally, I wouldn't have done it.
Why not? If I would pay that for you, would you do it?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I'm scared of flying. I'm afraid of heights.
But this is not flying. This is going on a rocket.
Exactly. This is a damn rocket. Did you see how it took off?
Yeah.
Like when NASA goes out in space, or when they used to go out in space.
Well, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is it could be like that Challenger. You know,
Yeah.
it blows up.
Well, that was back in 2003.
I don't remember when it was. but
2003 when they. Well, there was one in 2003 where they.
Yeah.
And then it was like 6 or 7.
Yeah. That's the scary part, I think. But,
Exactly.
but you know, car accidents, the same thing. So
That's true. That's
I
true.
just you
When I was watching it looked fake. The takeoff looked fake, and then even the when they returned that rocket, the propeller, the tube, that looked fake too. The way it landed,
So you didn't think the whole thing was real?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, now with movie technology, it's possible.
Yeah. I've seen some of that stuff, some of that 3D stuff.
Mhm.
It's pretty crazy. It's interesting, and I think they put a stop to it on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
Where I was watching this video last year or the year before, they put somebody's face on somebody else's body, and it looked real.
Yeah.
And I think people were believing that it was that person.
Well, a lot of people say that there was the original moon landing was not real. So
Right.
we don't know. We'll never know.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up because I was watching a TikTok. I'm a big fan of TikTok. There was and I gotta verify if it's true. There was this guy that went up to, I think, Neil Armstrong,
Mm-hmm.
and told him to swear and put his hand over the Bible and verify that it was him confirming he wouldn't do it. I was like, oh, well,
We'll never know.
yeah.
You know, it's a lot of conspiracy theories
Right. And then I think the boots, right? They were on display, and the boot marks on the moon
don't match.
the actual boots that are on display.
Might be a different boot.
Maybe so.
We don't know.
Maybe different boots, different shoes for moonwalking, huh?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson shoes.
The film crew was available back then, so we don't know.
That's true.
So we don't know. We will never know. We just got to believe. Okay, that's what they tell us.
Right.
It happened.
Right. We gotta believe it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not.
It's in the history books.
So they say. Yeah. All
So
right, then.
last time we mentioned we were talking about Dave Ramsey.
Right. That's the chef guy, right?
No, it's that financial guy. Dave Ramsey. He's been around, I guess, 20 years or so. He has his radio show, usually an AM, I believe, radio,
Right.
and he's famous for some 7 baby steps of saving money and becoming debt free.
Right.
And I know we mentioned his name several times in the last show, I think, or one of the shows. I don't
Right.
remember. Yeah. And so I thought it would be a good idea. What are the baby steps that he talks about, and how does it really fit the general population, especially people from the barrio?
Right.
Can they really follow the baby steps, or would they really work?
Right. And I could see some people saying that it wouldn't work for them. Definitely see that happening. And it's hard. The baby steps are hard, definitely, for sure.
So let's go. What are the baby steps? Baby step 1.
Baby step 1, save $1,000.
I think anybody could do that.
Yeah, but I think it's hard too. It's hard.
No,
Because saving $1,000, you're already in the mindset of spending. You have a lifestyle, spending money this way, spending money that way, going to the movies, spending money out, flashing stuff, right?
But if you save $100 a month in 10 months, you're
10
you're-
months. That's a long
10
time.
months.
For
Hey,
somebody, that might feel like. That's
Or
an
20
eternity.
months if you do $50 a month. That's a couple of
So-
Starbucks that you don't have to buy.
That's true. That's almost 2 years though.
Well, but at least you could do it. It's doable.
It's doable, of course.
Okay, so you don't think that's reasonable? $1,000. I think
Yeah.
everybody should save at minimum 3 months of whatever you need to survive for
Right.
food, rent, or whatever you need to live with. Ideally, 6 months to a year.
6 months a year, right?
That's what it should be.
For baby step one.
Yeah, I think that should be your baby step one,
Okay.
personally. And I tell you that because many years ago, when I was in my 20s, and I never followed Dave Ramsey. I learned about him maybe a couple years ago. But we were already doing a lot of the stuff Dave Ramsey steps have.
Right.
And my wife at that time, she had asked.
You've had other wives?
No, my wife, no.
Oh, okay. You said wife at the time.
No, at the time, she believed in less savings, and we would always try to have at least 6 months of savings. And I think at that time, I think we had like a year of what we needed to survive, like for pay rent, food, gas, utilities, whatever we need. Well, I lost my job.
Shit.
And it took 6 months to get a job.
Shit.
So that's why I believe 6 months to a year.
You already had that money saved up?
Have the money saved up, yeah.
Okay.
So when I lost a job, yeah, I was worried. And it got to a point, I kept applying to work. Wasn't getting anything. And got interviews, but no yeses. So, you know what, I said, forget it. And let's go on vacation. We decided, let's go on vacation. Let's clear
While
out.
you were laid off?
Huh?
While you were out of work?
Yeah, we were out of work. And we went to Mexico to visit her sister. And, we didn't have to pay for a hotel, just a flight. And then it doesn't cost much to travel in Mexico.
Right.
So we figured, okay, we could do it with a very, very low budget. We did it. And guess what? When I was over there, I got offered a job.
Damn. While on vacation.
While on vacation. So they left a message. I called them from over there. And then I told them, well, I'm on vacation. I won't be back into another week or so. And she says, okay, we'll wait for you. Came back, did my second interview, or did the interview. And then they within a week later did a second interview, and I was hired.
Nice.
But I don't know. Sometimes I feel that when I'm like stuck and things are not moving, just getting away sometimes helps.
Right.
So that time it did help. But if I hadn't had that 6 months to a year saved up, we wouldn't be able to do it. And who knows where we would have been? Probably lost our house, lost the cars, everything that we had.
Right.
So I've always believed in that.
So for you, it worked out, right? Having that, you said 6 months supply?
Yeah.
Of funds.
Yeah.
Right. However long it took you to figure that out, to do it. But luckily you had that before Dave Ramsey, right?
Oh yeah. I've always, my wife, when we got married, that was our goal. Hey, we got to put savings away, and we did. And to this day, I believe that, have that for your household. And if you have income property, same thing. For each of the income properties, have a good slush fund, and it comes in handy. I believe in money attracts money.
Right.
So if you have a lot of debt and bills, you can get a lot of bills keep coming. And if you have money saved up, eventually that attracts more money coming in.
Right. And I like that when you mentioned that you were able to save some of that money just in case something happened, right? I know somebody right now, he hasn't told me, but I know somebody, I heard through the grapevine, this person, I think he owns some property también. So he saved up, or he's working, I think he gets paid pretty decently. So he's got his property, and then he's got some rental property, and I think some people in his rental property aren't paying because of COVID.
Yep.
So he's having to work a second job
Just to pay the mortgage.
to pay the mortgage on the other on the rental property for the people that can't afford it.
That goes in line to, there's a lot of books when you're buying, rental properties and income properties that tell you leverage, meaning that get a loan from building A that has equity to get the down payment for the second building,
Right.
and you do that, and eventually you acquire a whole bunch of real estate.
Right.
Yeah, it works, but what happens like in your friend's situation? People stop paying rent.
Right.
Or I had many years ago one situation where a fourplex, all the tenants moved out at the same time for 2 months
Were they
or 2.5
protesting?
months. Huh?
Were they protesting you, or?
No, what happened, it was when the economy went down.
Mhm.
So one person lost their job. Another tenant got married. The third tenant, they bought a house because everything was so cheap.
Nice.
And the fourth one, I don't know what happened to it. Why did they move out? But the building was completely empty for 2.5 months.
So who had to cover the mortgage? You did, right?
Well, yeah. But because I believe in that 6 months to a year reserves, that building had that reserve, and we went through the whole reserves, in that period of time. And because not only I had to cover the rent, but I also had to cover the repairs for each one.
Right.
So every time somebody moves out, you got to go in there and paint it,
The carpet or whatever it is.
whatever it is. So that took up a lot of money, and it was very stressful.
And I was going to ask, well, how was that stress for you? Even though you had the 6 month supply.
It was stressful, but I think it would have been worse if we didn't have that.
Right.
And so I always recommend people they have that reserve. I know it's hard to do because you see the money and like, hey, I want to start spending. Just set it aside. You're going to thank me down the line because eventually you will need it.
Right.
Repairs, things break down. You have a major catastrophic repair that's going to drain your savings on that.
Yeah, your financial resources.
Yeah.
Shit.
And if you don't have that, then what happens? You got to tap into your personal. Now that starts affecting your personal, and you don't want that.
Right. A lot of stress involved in that.
Yeah.
I don't think, if I wouldn't have known about Dave Ramsey, I don't think I would have saved up X amount of I would have saved up money, but I don't think it would have been enough to cover 6, 9 a year months of supply.
Yeah, I don't know where my wife got that from, but
We have to
I said,
bring
okay.
her. We'll bring
we'll
her
have
one
to
day and ask
interview
her.
her and ask her one day where she got that from.
Yeah, that's pretty good though, because I wouldn't have thought about it. My wife never thought about it.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in previous ones, I had to bring my wife, kind of get her on board, and this was after a while, after speaking to people, and including you. You're one of the ones that told me, like, hey, follow this.
Yeah, I mean she had that on board right from when we got married, and what was the other thing we did? Multiple savings accounts. Back then, savings accounts had like very little minimum.
Right.
So we had a savings account for vacation, savings accounts for the car repairs, savings account for a new car, savings account for just like whatever we want, big ticket items that we wanted to do.
Right.
We had a savings account for it,
Right.
and every month or every check, she would put a little bit here and there. And I remember one year, she was like, we want to do a really nice vacation. And I said, well, okay, where do you want to go? She picked Europe.
Mm.
And because I'm not a good flyer like you, I said, okay, we're going to go to Europe. Well, we have to go for a long time. So we ended up taking off for a month.
You were trying to avoid that flight, huh?
Yeah, just one time.
Back to back?
So we took off for a month, and we saved up for it for about a year and a half.
Damn.
And once we had the money, we ended up saving, I think it was 15, 20 grand. And it says, okay, book it. Nos fuimos.
Damn.
Didn't worry about any money issues. We spent whatever we wanted over there. Came back. No credit card debt because it was already
Paid off, huh?
Yeah.
That's really nice, man.
Yeah, so that's why the different savings account trick works, and having the reserves, and
In the different savings accounts, did you find yourself having one account being funded more or faster than the other ones?
Well, there were certain items that we wanted to reach sooner. For example, we knew, okay, we want to buy a car within X period of time, or we wanted to go on vacation by X period of time. On those, we would budget a certain amount of our check to go to those a little bit more. And the ones that just needed just money to pop in there, we would just put in the minimum that we thought, okay, we're going to split that amount in there.
I figured the vacation would be the first one being funded.
Probably
Fully
sometimes.
funded.
I think it was for that time. It was the car and the vacation. I think those were the big ticket items that we wanted to save.
So Dave Ramsey says step one, $1,000. Danny says
6 months to a year.
6 months to a year of expenses.
But I agree with Dave Ramsey as a start.
Right.
Because once you get started with that, eventually you're gonna.
Right.
We could do more.
Go ahead.
If you could do more, do more.
Even better. I remember we had to happen when we first started doing it. Something happened to our car, and I was like, dude, it's gonna be $300. And I was like, but wait, that's what that money is for, the $1,000, to use that towards emergency stuff. And that was the emergency in order for me to get to work, get it fixed, and get to work. Look at that. So that worked for us, and I was like, dude, why do I need to stress about it? Para eso es.
Yeah, para eso es.
Para eso es. And then you got to replenish it. Boom, I spent $300. I got to get back in there, get those $300 back in there to get back up to 1,000.
Yeah, so it works.
Right.
But I think 1,000's very little.
Right.
Especially nowadays, where everything's so expensive.
Yeah, that's very little.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's a start.
Yeah, it is a start.
So
start.
what's baby step 2?
Baby step 2 is to pay off all your debt except your house, except your mortgage. Do not pay that off.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But that's very hard to do, though. And especially if you have a lot of debt, it's going to take you a couple of years to get through that.
Right. For some people, it's taking them years. For us, it's taking us years. I follow the Dave Ramsey Everyday Millionaire on Facebook, and some people are seeing like they paid off 30, 100 something thousand in 19 months. And I was like, dude, how? But they're dedicated.
Well, I mean, you got to be dedicated. You could have 2 jobs, multiple jobs, a lot of little side gigs here and there.
I don't think the ones that are paying off their debt in 19 months are from California. I think they're all from like
Well, I
the
mean,
Midwest or somewhere
yeah,
else.
where you're making a big salary and your
Yeah.
household rent is $1,000 or
Right.
less, you know. But here in California, kind of hard. You would
It's
have to
hard.
make $500,000 to be able to do that.
And then so this is the one where Dave Ramsey, this baby step is where he's talking about picking up a second job if you could.
Yeah.
Picking up delivering pizza, Uber, DoorDash. ¿Qué más?
Well, I don't know about
Restaurant.
DoorDash. I've heard that you're driving around and making $5 a delivery or
Mhm.
$10. That's more than gas that you have to pay for gas. So is it really worth it?
So I spoke to somebody recently. He does it, I think, 5 days a week. He makes about $100 a day. He said on a good day he makes about 100, 120.
Oh, really?
On a bad day, I think he's made, if I remember correctly, maybe $40.
But that's less than a day laborer.
Yeah, yeah.
Day laborers make $250 a day.
If you hire them,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he said he likes it. He said about $100 a day. He's like, it's enough. He doesn't have to work, but he does do that. He gets money a different way.
Well, I mean, I'm not putting it down. It's if you need to make money,
Yeah.
that's a legitimate way of making money. But I'm not sure if it's worth the amount of energy and that you're doing. There might be other
Right.
jobs that you could do.
Especially with the, working like in finances or anything with business with tips. My mom used to work at 2 restaurants that I remember. And I remember she mentioned to me once, she said, I rely more on my tips
than the actual salary.
than my actual salary. But I think at that time too, at that point, it was like late 80s, early 90s. I think the tipping wasn't the same it is now. I think now they pull all their tips together and then they spread it evenly, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that's what they do now.
That's kind of messed up, I think.
It is messed up. But then the people who aren't making a lot of tips are saying the same thing. That's messed up. I'm not getting the same amount of tips as, I don't know, a pretty person or whatever it is.
Is that why I get bad service now? Because they know they're not going to get all the tips?
Well, I've seen you at McDonald's, Danny. Getting crazy with that.
That's McDonald's, though. But in a restaurant, you know, they don't give you the same attention sometimes.
As before?
Yeah.
I guess that could be the
Yeah,
incentive.
maybe. There's no incentive, really.
Yeah. If it's going to be pulled together and just all out to bat. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. But if everybody pulled the same attitudes together, you pull in some more money.
Okay.
Right. Pero.
Well, so, and then the debt about the snowball. We talked about snowballing your
Right.
bills where you pay either the least interest first or the least amount of money first.
Right.
And that's another whole episode on how to do it.
And we should touch on that one again, too. Maybe give some actual examples
Okay.
in future, bring somebody in.
So baby step 3.
Baby step 3 would be, what's baby step 3?
3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund.
Right.
That's besides the baby step 1.
Right. So depending also on how much your expenses are, your monthly expenses being your vehicle, whatever it is that you need to survive based on the lifestyle you're living now, but also minimally.
That
Correct?
kind of goes with my baby step 1.
So that's your baby step 1 and 3 together.
Yeah, that together.
And that worked for you.
It works, yeah.
So there's some people that are Dave Ramsey, and then there's people that are Dave Ramsey-ish, kind of doing the steps differently. I'm Dave Ramsey-ish, and I'll tell you why right now, or what I do differently. Personally, I'm on baby step 2, and I need to sit back and kind of get back on track to see where I'm at, and make sure that I am on track to pay everything off right now. Baby step 3 is going to be the next one, and that one's going to be, I got to sit back and see what our expenses are to make sure, okay, we have those 3 to 6 or 6 to 9 or up to a year.
Now, when he talks about the expenses, that means what you need on a monthly basis to survive,
Right.
like rent, utilities, cell phone. Doesn't include entertainment,
Right.
or we want to include entertainment in that.
Right.
It's really up to you.
I think personally I would add some entertainment in there, especially if you have kids.
At least a little bit to go to the movies or
Get out, do something, get a little
buy ice cream.
una
Yeah.
nieve, algo así.
Yeah. Okay.
You're romantic as I am with the ice cream.
I go to Home Depot for my dates.
For ice cream?
No, for our dates.
Oh, no.
You know, as you buy a house, you spend a lot of time at Home Depot.
I go to Lowe's. I like Lowe's.
Lowe's.
Yeah.
Either one.
I like Lowe's because I get a 10% military discount.
Okay, see.
So that
That'd
pays
take
off
you
the
along.
tax. Yeah, but not Home Depot. Home Depot doesn't think they offer that.
So I gotta go buy some stuff tomorrow. You wanna go to Lowe's with me?
Let's go. I love Lowe's. I took my father-in-law there. He bought something, a pressure washer. Military discount, 10%. It paid off the taxes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Bought my lawnmower, paid off the taxes with that. See, I like it. I like Lowe's.
No, I didn't know that.
And then with Lowe's too, personal experience. When I go to Lowe's, everybody's nice. Hey, sir, can I help you? What can I help you with this? Home Depot, it's hard to find somebody.
True, but Lowe's, I've been couple times like, they can't find anybody.
Right.
So sometimes they're slacking off, but their stores are a lot cleaner, a lot
Right.
nicer. It's just Home Depot's closer to my house.
That's true.
That's why the reason I go to Home Depot.
This is like 4 blocks, maybe.
Yeah, it's like I can walk to it. I can't walk to Lowe's. So.
The nearest one I think is maybe 4. Not more than 4 miles from me.
Yeah.
So baby step 3, I think that one might take a while for somebody. If we're talking about baby step 1, maybe taking some people 10 months, 20 months.
Yeah, it depends on how much
For
you're putting into
$1,000.
it. How much they're putting into it.
Just imagine baby step 3. But baby step 3 may be easier once you pay off all your debt. Use that money, the extra funds you have there, to funnel into baby step 3.
Now, do you think they should work at baby step 2 and 3 at the same time? What is this thing?
His thing is to do them step by step.
Step by step.
Step by step, except 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 go together.
So if you get into an emergency and you're debt to the yin yang, then what do? Get more debt.
Get more debt. Get a second job, third job, have somebody in the house. He even jokes about selling your kids. He's like, sell your kids.
Yeah, I know he talks about beans and rice, right?
Again, putting yourself on a diet, rice and beans, but he's exaggerating there.
Yeah.
Somebody actually called him like, are you serious? He's like, man, if you're eating rice and beans.
For us, would be tortillas and frijoles, right?
Right, yeah. Con poquito de queso.
That's it.
That'd be really good.
People, man. That's you gotta
Really
do what you gotta do. Baby step 4, which is invest 15% of your household income in retirement.
So that's big, and I think that's going to be a hard one for the Hispanic people for a couple of reasons. One, they don't believe in investing in stocks, in the stock market, mutual funds, ETFs. ¿Qué más hay?
And then most of the Hispanics don't work in companies that provide 401ks.
That's true.
And so
That's true.
that makes it even harder.
That makes it harder, yeah. But there are apps. I just got my sister. I'm glad my sister admitted to me yesterday. She's actually she's invested a good amount of money in stock market.
Okay.
She listened to me.
Oh, but she's playing actual stocks, not like mutual funds and stuff.
Not mutual funds. Yeah, she's actually she's got some index stocks
Okay.
that she's investing in. She told me she did about $700.
I think nowadays, with all the online methods of buying stocks, anybody could do it nowadays.
Right.
Back in the day, you couldn't do it, and we wouldn't even hear anybody talking about stocks.
You'd have to go to like E-Trade, not E-Trade. It's the which companies are out there?
Right now,
Before the ones before they get all the apps and all.
Oh, before there was none.
Yeah.
You had to go to actual broker.
Right.
Because I remember when I was in college, you hear like, hey, you want to buy stock, but you had to go to a broker to buy
Right,
it, and they would charge an arm and a leg
Yeah.
to invest. And it's like, no,
And-
you can't do it if you don't have money.
Now it's not that expensive.
Now, I remember when I first started buying stock on my own, there was a company called Scott's Trade.
Right.
And it was $7 a flat fee, buy or sell
Per transaction.
per transaction.
That's expensive.
Well, I mean, that was, I don't know, but that was the only one around at that time.
Right.
And I thought, okay, it's $7, isn't that bad. Now, the new ones are cheaper now?
So the new ones are cheaper. I think I'm paying maybe less than $1 per
Oh, really?
transaction on Fidelity, but it might be cheaper than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in my 457B, they charge us maybe a $5 monthly fee, which is not bad.
It's
A
not
monthly fee, not a transaction, a monthly
Must
fee.
be. Oh,
It's
yeah,
on
and you
maintenance
could
or-
do as many
Yeah.
transactions. Wow. I got to go back to see what, right now I think I'm using Inter-America Trade or something like that.
Mm.
But I don't even check to see what they charge anymore. I haven't
See.
checked in a while. I
Yeah.
mean, they've been doing a good job, so.
And some people have a problem with those fees. Like, why are you charging? Like, they're investing your money, bro. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
$5 a month, like.
Yeah.
The other part, I think, with baby step 4, 15% investing in stocks. Some people have questions. Is it 15% of the household income, meaning I'm investing 7.5, my wife is investing 7.5 to equate to 15%, or is it 15 and 15?
According to what it says, I think it's the whole household.
Right.
So,
Everybody 15%.
and I think the way he says it is, as a household, you bring all your income into a pot, and that's 15% of that.
Right. And I know you have some advice too about 15% or maybe even more investing, right? Depending on where you're investing. You had mentioned to me before, there's a certain, if your company matches your,
Well, yeah. If like you have an employer where they do matching, do the matching at minimum,
Right.
plus an extra percent,
right,
because there's this math that usually kind of throws everything off. So
Right.
do an extra percent. But you got to be careful with that,
Right.
because if you do the 15%, and some companies that if you do the full 15% that the IRS or something like that allows to put in, then your matching might not get put in there.
Right.
So you got to be careful on that. So it might be, if you're doing it with your employer, it could be like 10% plus if you're getting 4%. So
Right.
that's about 14% that you go as far as in your funds. But I think he's talking not employment. I think
Right.
he's talking on the side, right?
That's a good question. I got to follow. But I think he's also including that.
Oh, he's including
I
that?
believe so.
Okay,
In
then.
401k, money mutuals, mutual funds.
So then that would probably be part of baby step one, because if you're working and your employer's matching, you want to do at least the matching 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever your employer matches, at minimum.
And I think that's where he has a problem, or some people call him and tell him, hey, I'm investing now, and he says, you shouldn't be investing now.
But
You should
then
be
that's you're
investing
throwing
the next
money away,
before."
though,
That's my argument.
because if you don't do the matching, that's you're losing
4%.
you're losing out 4%.
And I think I mentioned to you, I knew somebody who's works where I work, and they haven't invested. They've been working there longer than I have, like twice as long, and they invested nothing.
You got to
all those
do
years.
at least the matching.
Right.
You got to do it. The minimum, the matching plus 0.5% or 1%.
Right. So where I work, I think the matching is 4%, but you have to do a 4.3%
Yeah.
in order to get the full 4%, because that's sometimes the math and whatever it is after that.
Exactly.
You don't get the full 4%. You end up being like a 3.8 or 9.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, that's where I'm at. I'm also baby step 1. I've done baby step 1, baby step 2, and baby
Part
step
of 4
4.
because you're investing.
Right, and I've been investing a couple years already.
But you're also doing outside investing.
I'm also doing outside investing, yeah. That one's not a percentage. That one's whenever I have extra money, $20, $30, I'm gonna
Go buy some
throw
stock.
it in there, yeah. And I do my research on where I'm gonna buy my stocks. I don't just throw it wherever the hell. I research por qué this company, how's it doing, how's it been doing, who's on the board, stuff like that.
We'll have to talk about that. Now, what to look for when you're looking at a company.
Right.
And maybe we could get some information. Do you look at the balance sheets? Do you look at the company's finances? Or, I think that's a whole topic we should talk about one
Let's
of
do
these
that.
days.
And I'd love to maybe have an audience one day,
Oh, yeah.
so they
Well,
can see it, maybe try it. But I'm happy my sister's doing it. My sister actually did it, and she's like, hey, I've listened to you, but she also seen where our parents came from. They didn't invest. Everything was saving. And I told her, like, hey, invest, and luckily she's young enough to.
Invest a little bit. Eventually you get comfortable and you start investing more.
Right.
And it makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where she's at. So she's doing it. I'm happy. And then, so my outside one is not a percentage. It's just whatever. Whenever I have extra money, vámonos. My kids also have stocks, and I help them pick. What do you like, mijo? Oh, I buy Microsoft. I spend money here. All right. Do you want to invest in Microsoft? I love Tesla, Dad. Okay.
Like
Throw
Tesla.
some money in Tesla.
He's investing good.
Yeah. So
Most of the time, I remember one time reading this about this, what do you call these investment groups?
Mhm.
And there was a bunch of little old ladies that would get together and they would buy like stocks.
Right.
And they all purchase stuff of brands that they used in their life.
right.
And it turned out that the group made several $1 million just by doing that,
Right.
stuff that they knew, and they felt comfortable in buying companies that they felt comfortable. And it does work.
So that's one of the strategies I use. Where do I invest? Netflix? I'm watching Netflix. Well, why not get some money back from Netflix if I'm paying? Vámonos.
Exactly. It's your company,
Right.
a little bit.
And then the mortgage company that we have,
Yeah.
also on the stock market, vámonos pues.
No?
You're charging me some amount, I'm gonna get some money back.
It makes sense. Many years ago, probably about when the last economy came down, I think it was 2009, something like that, 2008.
After 2008,
Yeah. I decided to do an investment club
Mhm.
with family and friends, and I think there was 15 of us. And everybody would meet once a month, and we all pitched in $100, and everybody would bring 3 companies,
Right.
and then the whole group would vote, and we put our whole money together, and we would buy the stocks,
Right.
whatever shares we could buy with the money that we had, and it worked out pretty good because we were really diversified,
Right.
meaning that we got companies from automobiles, to Avon, to companies
Wow.
that I would have never thought of purchasing.
Right.
And eventually it was a program that we did for 2 years, and a group of us decided to buy everybody out, and at the end, I ended up keeping all the stocks.
Right.
And it was worth it. I'll do it again next time the economy goes down.
Was it worth it for you or for them? What do you think?
It was worth for both.
Okay.
Because everybody got the short gain, but I decided, like, you know what? These are a good balanced portfolio.
Right.
I'm gonna just see what happens. I'm gonna let it ride. And so I ended up buying everybody's shares at the value of at the end of 2 years, and it was good. Now that value has increased quite
By a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's something when I talk to family or friends, I tell them, like, investing is long term. Don't expect to get rich overnight. The next day, lo que sea. There are some few, right, like AMC, GameStop, that happened, but the other ones are long term.
Yeah.
The other ones are long term. Like, I tell my sister, like, dude, that's not for now.
The only thing I think would have done different is if we would have kept it going,
Right.
not ended at 2 years.
How much money could you guys have invested in all that?
Right now,
Like, if you guys were to put money, how much would it have been?
in 10, 15 years, I mean, I don't know how much we were putting a year. There was 20 of us, I think, 15 or 20 people, and we're putting, was it 2,000 a month?
You want to do the math?
Yeah, do the math. How much is that?
How much was it?
Okay, I think it was, let's say 15 people.
50 people, okay.
15 people, 100 people, so it's 1,500 times 12.
1,500 times 12 equals $18,000.
18,000 a year times, what is it, 15 years ago now, or 10 years ago? Was it 12 years ago now?
It's been that long?
Yeah.
$216,000.
So now multiply that by the compound interest. How much would that be worth at 10%?
I love compounding interest. That's your friend right there. Compounding interest is your friend. That's not what they're charging you in interest. That's you making
I think
money.
that if we had continued and we kept doing that, the same number of people, it'd probably be worth about $5-10 million easily.
Damn. Yeah, because that's $216,000. That's just investing.
Investing.
That doesn't include
Interest,
compound
none
interest.
of that stuff. So I think if we would have done it, so I think that's something I would do differently
Right.
in the future, is start another one and then just keep it
Right.
rolling, and then there'll be your retirement.
That's a damn good retirement.
Well, yeah, imagine you did that for 10 years,
Shoot.
and if it does reach 10 million, that's $1 million a piece.
Damn. Damn.
When you start thinking about that.
Right. And that's just in one place. That doesn't
place.
include your retirement.
And it wasn't a lot of money that we were putting in. It was like $100 a month.
Right. Damn.
So, but we were in a group, which gave us a lot of power to buy stocks that we wouldn't be able to buy individually.
But the way that I'm thinking, because I know some of these people, they were probably, and this happens to a lot of people. They want to make money off the bat.
Yeah, there's some people that did it for 6 months. We went out.
Yeah.
If you did it they wanted out before the time that we had agreed in as a group, they wouldn't get any of the interest. They would just get their money out.
Because there's penalties
Yeah.
on top of that, right?
Yeah.
If you pull out your money, what is it, short gains
Yeah.
before a year, entonces I heard that's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's like a lot of interest. Get the
Yeah.
COVID on taxes and everything.
It was good. Everybody made money at the end,
Yeah.
but
It happens. Yeah.
it happens. So that's
Investing
baby
is
step
long
4.
term. Investing is long term.
Baby step 5,
Maybe step 5 is,
college fund.
so I see.
Yeah,
I see
no,
some.
Rasta doesn't play.
That's what I was gonna say.
Maybe
Or-
nowadays it's different, but when I was growing up, they would look down on you if you're planning on going to college.
Right.
So yeah, my parents did it.
I think there's a big push now for college and even trade schools. And I think there's more of a push now for trade schools because I think they're cheaper, short term. You make some good money.
Yeah, if you
In
want to
trade
be a
school.
contractor, you
Yeah.
want to be a beautician,
Right.
or what's the other trade schools?
Like
Welder, plumbing.
HVAC,
Well,
stuff like that.
those are industries that are somewhat dying. People don't want to work those.
Really
There's a shortage.
too much work for the millennials and Generation Z.
Yeah, the next generation, they don't want to get dirty. I mean, because they're hard jobs.
Yeah.
They're very difficult. I mean, they're well paying, but they're very difficult
Right.
jobs to do.
I know. I know some people that work in HVAC and it's like, dude, you guys are on the roof.
In the attic, it's really hot up there, and
Yeah.
some of those attics are really like narrow. It's a tough job.
Right.
So, my hat goes off to those who do it, but this new generation, I don't see them.
They don't want to get their hands
They
dirty.
don't want to do it.
Pretty hands like mine.
Yeah.
But where do they invest this college fund? Do they just put it in a savings account, checking account?
Well, there's
Venmo?
what is it, the
529.
529.
account.
That's the one that most financial advisors recommend.
Right.
The downside with that is that if your kids don't go to college, you lose the money.
So here's what I've heard. You have to use that money for college purposes, right?
Correct.
I heard
It could be you.
I can use it?
You could. Anybody in the household could use it.
So it's not to a specific person. It's not
No.
for like my son. Like there's not a separate account. It could just be.
It's for the kid, but if the kid then, my understanding, if it doesn't go to college, you could use it for yourself or for another kid.
Okay. And it has to be specific for school
Correct.
expenses.
Correct.
Right? But I've heard, I haven't looked too much into it, but I heard there's a way to convert it, like a backdoor way to convert it from a 529. Because you can lose it, like you mentioned. If you don't use it, you lose it. But there's a way to convert it up to, like, I think a regular 401k or Roth. I forgot what it was. But there's a way to convert it, a backdoor way.
I didn't know there was a backdoor.
Yeah.
Something must be something new because I didn't know about that.
There's always a backdoor.
When I was,
You just gotta knock.
they told me about it. Huh?
Nothing.
They told me about it. They didn't say there was a backdoor. They said, no, you got to go to college. I go, I only have one son. What if he doesn't go to college?
Right.
Well, then you or your wife has to go to college. And like, well, I already went to college.
And so I don't know if those expenses have, if you can use those expenses to buy a car too. I don't know if it's that.
That's for the college expense?
Yeah, I don't
Transportation?
know.
I don't think so.
Transportation. So I got to look into that.
So the one way of doing that is just have your kid go to college for one semester and buy them a car, and then you can pull all the money out then.
That's true. There's different ways. We just got to look into it, and you got to be creative too.
Yeah, I don't know.
But a 529, I mean, that's something they really got to look into because our people are not going to open a 529. No sabe que es un 529.
Where are they going to go get it? Where do you open those? Do you go to the regular bank, or do you have to go to a specific location to get that?
Right.
I don't know if regular banks have those now.
I haven't looked into it personally because my kids, I served in the military, so they get their college expenses paid for, I think, for 4 years or
Oh,
something.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's pretty good.
All of them. So I'm adopting kids if anybody wants to go to college for free.
You should have told me that 6 years ago.
6 years ago?
You could take my kid.
That's true.
Too late now.
That's true. Maybe the other ones. Grandkids, like I said, we'll put them on there.
Grandkids.
And
Wow.
so, and I think the 529 is also like a stock, is it stock market related?
Yes.
Because it builds interest.
It's
and-
like a mutual fund.
Okay.
I think it's like a mutual fund.
So you invest, y luego at the end, it's building in. I mean, not the end, but along the way, it also builds interest.
Yeah. But hopefully, the Raza starts at least doing something.
Right.
The way I did it for my sons, every month, you know how we talked about having savings accounts? Well, we had a savings account for my son.
Right.
And every month we would put in, $200-300. And by the time he got to college, the account was probably worth maybe $60,000.
Damn.
Because we did it for 18 years.
Right.
It adds up.
A Gerber baby.
A Gerber baby, pretty
No, I'm just
much.
kidding.
And we used it up on his undergrad and graduate school.
Nice.
And
But that one didn't build up a lot of interest, huh? Because the
No.
banks were putting in like
no,
whatever they get, like 1% now.
we put it in a money market account.
Okay.
We probably could have done better by putting it in like in a mutual fund,
Right.
but I don't know. For some reason, we just decided to go that route. It's secure. It's there. It's gonna. We knew we were building it up.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was our mistake. We're not putting it in a mutual fund.
But even 60 grand is really good. We saved up zero when I went to college,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
so-
helpful.
No, I think
60
that's good.
grand.
Yeah, it was helpful for him. I think he's happy. He didn't have to get financial aid or anything.
No student loans.
Or student loans.
None of that stress. And we talked to Sarah, who was talking about
Yeah.
her student loans.
Student
thing.
loans.
It was a lot of stress for her.
And I know people that I work with, they've been out of school for 10, 20 years, and they're still paying student loans.
Well, there's a reason why they do that. Why people are waiting 10 years, 25 years to pay off their student loans. Depending which one you get. There's also there's one that if you work as a public servant for 10 years, they can waive off your loans. Supposedly.
I think there's some teacher stuff, right?
So there's teachers, there's also, if we work in a place where there's a high need for mental health specialists, therapists, psychologists, we do it for 10 years, they can waive or forgive those loans.
Well, see, that's worth it right there.
But I've heard also that the acceptance rate for those applications, it's like a very small percent. Very small percent.
You got to be a favorite.
I don't know.
It's based on who you are, who is a favorite in the department.
No, it's not the department that does it. It's like it's a program.
Oh,
It's a different program. Pero a lot of people end up getting rejected. From what I've heard, I don't know. I gotta look into it. I don't have 10 years yet. I'll find out. But then there's another program with the student loan forgiveness. Is if I think you pay your student loans for 25 years, they forgive them after that. But do you
yeah,
want
but
to pay
25 years.
student loans for 25 years?
What's left?
Well, depending. Because some people do the earned income. So you're paying less, and the interest is like $1,000. You're paying like $400 or $500. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying things that I've heard. You know.
Oh, so you're getting a lot of interest in the.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a business.
Oh, it's a business. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think if I ever make Jeff Bezos type money, my goal is to fund people through school 100%, but then they have to do the same. to somebody else, kind of like pay it forward. And of course, by the time they would have to work at least 5 years or 10 years in their job. At that mark, they got to find somebody and do the same. But of course, the school's going to be more expensive. But that's where you pay the interest rate. Right. But by then, they should be financially set, and they would be able to afford to fund 1 or 2 kids.
Right. That'd be nice.
So that's kind of one of my goals, to do kind of like a scholarship type of thing, where you don't have to worry about housing, food, or anything. Just fund it 100%.
Right.
And then they would have to do that 5 years or 10 years after they.
It's like the Starbucks thing. When somebody pays at the front and the people in the back look us out.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm not there yet, but hopefully one day.
You got 2 years. You got 2 years left.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
what's the next one? Baby step 6: pay off your home early.
Yes. So that's where you start paying off your mortgage as fast as you can. So then there's some controversy with that, right?
Well, there's some people that say you should never pay off your mortgage.
Right.
And there's other people that say, like him.
Why wouldn't people pay off their mortgage, though?
Why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that you get the tax advantage at the end of the year.
That's always been my reasoning before.
But really, how much tax advantage do you get for that?
So then that was so I've always been told, like, save it, keep your money, not keep your money. Don't pay off your home fast. Use it 30 years. You can get tax write-off. But then we did our taxes this year, for the first time since we bought a house. Damn. There's really no big of difference.
No big difference.
I think we were only able to claim about $15,000 worth of renovations or whatever. It made no difference. I mean, I guess it made a difference. Pero,
personally, I rather pay it off and have peace of mind.
Right.
The peace of mind of knowing, especially if you don't have any of the funds, or if you have no mortgage and you lose your job, all you have to worry is about utilities, property taxes, and insurance.
Right.
And a little bit of food, frijoles and tortillas.
Yeah, we'll be fine with that.
Yeah, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 mortgage. That's a lot of money.
It is. We're up there. We're somewhere up there.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of money.
So I recommend pay it off as soon as you can.
So I'm glad you said that, because I was watching somebody, I think Tuesday evening, I was watching somebody on YouTube saying you shouldn't pay off your house. Instead, whatever extra money you have that you're going to throw into your home on a monthly basis, invest that in stocks, mutual funds, money mutual, ETFs. And he said the reasoning behind that is your home is going to build equity, right, at about 3% per year. But if you put it in stocks, you can get up to 10%. So he said there's obviously a 7% higher interest gained. Right?
But you could lose 10% as well.
You can lose. But my friend Dave Ramsey, we're really tight. He was at my house yesterday. No, he wasn't. He says that the stock market has shown about a 12% average return. Personally, for my 457B, I've seen I'm on about 19%. Yeah, I'm about 19%. Thanks to you.
So you would? Do you want to? Are you going to follow that? Or?
I don't know. I'm looking into it. And I was having a good conversation with my wife yesterday when we went up north to Fresno, because it got me thinking. And the guy was talking about, like, go talk to a financial advisor, a broker that can invest your money. And I asked my wife. I started thinking about it. And I asked her the same question I was thinking. I said, what are our financial goals? Like, when we retire, what is it? And she threw out, like, I want to have a good amount of money, which
what does that mean?
Exactly. That's a very big response.
What does that mean?
Typical of my wife. Very big responses. She said, I want to have enough money so we can pay our mortgage. Okay, so red flag number 2 right there.
So she still wants to have a mortgage when she retires.
Then she clarified when I started asking questions. She said, well, we should probably have our house paid off before we get retired. I said, yeah, I think you should. I've heard from other people, I don't know. You should have your mortgage paid off before you retire. If you don't pay it off before you retire, you're going to have a hard time.
But yeah, because your income goes down. Right.
So she wants to have money, doesn't know how much. Seemed like she wanted to have a mortgage still, but it sounded like after that she reneged on that. And then she said she wanted to be able to have enough money to travel. But we don't travel often, so.
Well, eventually you would.
At some point.
I think that you should, when you plan for retirement, yeah, you should have your house paid off.
Right.
Because your income comes down, and you want to have a little bit to travel. I mean, when you can, and then you want to travel when you're young too, because what happens if you get ill? I remember that. Remember what I talked to you about going on a long vacation, that 30-day
Right.
trip? Well, my son's, I think he was in the elementary school teacher. She was getting close to retirement, and she wanted to. She goes, "I wish we could travel. My husband's now sick. We can't travel. We have the money now. We can't do it." So that had always stuck to me, that okay, always try to make a vacation
Right.
a year or every other year, to where it's significant that we could spend some family time together.
Right.
So I always budget vacations too.
Well, you're paying it cash, not putting it
Yeah.
on a credit card, not getting personal
Exactly.
loans, nothing like that.
And that's why I always have that money set aside. But I've already did my baby step 1 and my the 6 months to a year
Right.
set aside. I already did all that, so I could afford to set money aside.
Right.
And so yeah, I think you should do a little bit of both
Right.
when you retire.
And I agree. And even now, one thing I'm struggling with is even the idea of traveling young. Like, fuck it, why not? Why don't we fucking go somewhere? Why don't we go out? It'll be good for our mental health. Yeah, we're in a quarantine pandemic, whatever, but little getaways will be helpful. Even our kids are like, when are we going to go out?
Well, I think one thing that happens to not only you but your kids, when you travel, it's different
Right.
than being at home, because you're stuck in a little
Right. Little
you know,
jail cells, what we call
20
it.
by 20
It's not even
room,
moving.
and then you're in the car. If you do a road trip, you're in a car 8-10 hours
Right.
a day. You really get quality time with your family.
Right.
Sometimes, like, I don't know.
And they're great memories. You
Good
create
memories.
those memories.
Well, and then you get the memories when you have these incidents and vacation like you didn't think you were going to ever do.
Yeah,
I remember one year we went to Washington, D.C., and we ended up driving to Philadelphia. We wanted to go see where the Rocky Steps were at, and where they signed the independence. So we took a day trip over there. Well, it was a day right before we were supposed to come back to L.A. So by the time we got back to Washington area, it was already about 11:30, 12 o'clock. So like, well, we have to be at the airport at 3 in the morning because we had like a really early flight. So as a group, we decided, okay, what do we do? Do we go get a hotel for 2-3 hours, or do we just say, forget it, we'll just go
Right.
wait in the airport?
Sleep at the airport, huh?
And thinking that the airport was like LAX, there's always something going on. There's always
Right.
people action in the airport. We all say, hey, let's go to the airport. It's only
Sí, sí,
3-4
sí.
hours we would have to do it. So allá vamos, ya fuimos a entregar el carro, and guess what? Airport's closed.
What the hell?
And everything's empty. The good thing, the lobby area or where you check in, it was open, that you could go and sit down. Otherwise, we would be out in the thing. But it was a memory. So we all kind of slept in the airport. We all slept in the airport for a while.
Right.
And but that was one of those memories.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That's probably something that they remember, that.
Yeah, we remember. That's
What the hell?
that's something that we remember. So next step is
Baby step 7?
7.
Build wealth and give. And that's where he basically talks about, like, you've already paid off everything in your life. You're able to build more wealth and help other people. Live like you've never lived before. Help other people if you could. He calls it like being able to help. Is it tithing?
Teething, which is that's the church,
Right.
Because he's very religious, I believe. And
Yeah, he's
give
like a Christian.
10% of your salary to the church. That's a whole different topic. I'm not
Right.
sure if I agree with that.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But-
So he also talks about like helping other people who are in need, it's kind of like helping them up the ladder también, right? But not building ¿cómo se llama? Not making somebody dependent on you helping them,
Correct.
right?
I
So you
agree.
don't want to build the fuck is that word?
But there's other ways of helping. It doesn't have to just be your church. It
Right.
could be
Right.
charities. It could be different types of organizations, a cause.
Or even
politics.
helping individual people who need
Mhm.
something, right? So that's what he talks about now.
Yeah, support
See.
elderly family members and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't wait to get baby step 7.
Yeah, I don't think the Raza does baby step 7.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think that flies in the neighborhood. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's just making ends meet. But one thing that when it comes to tragedy or where the neighborhood like if somebody's like really hurting, the neighborhoods do come together. I
Right.
think that's the difference between most neighborhoods and than where we live now. I think in the Raza, they kind of come together and hey, they'll help you out. The neighbors help each other.
They do. I agree with that.
I think that's the difference between where we live now and where we used to live before.
Right. And I remember last year, I think it was 2020 or 2020. People were passing away, obviously, COVID related stuff. And I would see it on social media, and people were getting together. Like they would do a food train, which I had never heard of what a food train was until last year. And I think somebody, their husband was sick or passed away, one of the two.
What's a food train?
A food train. So they were accepting donations, right? Somebody set up like donations on social media, and you can like gift them money or gift them. They set up a calendar, right? On this day, you can buy chipotle for them, or you can buy pizza the following day, or lo que sea. So that was a food train for them. Like every day, they already had food set up for them.
Oh,
So
somebody will buy it.
yeah, somebody would buy it. Somebody would buy it for them out of the kindness of their heart. They weren't forced. So that the family didn't have to worry about where we're going to get food. Like food was already delivered to them at a specific time.
But for how long though?
I want to say I saw at least 2 weeks worth. 2 weeks worth. So, or you send them a gift card, lo que sea, or whatever it was. So that was a food train. You didn't have to worry about breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Somebody would always have it.
That's pretty
for
good.
you.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So people were coming together to do that.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it too. Yeah, and then people do get together to help each other out. Especially La Raza, you know, if they can't help you, te traigo comida. That was the
Yeah.
biggest thing, right, within our community.
Being comida.
We feed somebody.
Yeah.
Or the drinking también, right?
Yeah, I'll bring the cerveza.
See, there's never a shortage of beer out there.
Yeah, they might not be able to afford the sodas, but they can afford the beer.
Especially in the 40s. It's cheap.
Yep. I guess next we'll leave the life insurance topic. Well,
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey. So let's summarize it. Yes or no?
I'm Dave Ramsey-ish.
So part of it, I do agree.
See.
Other parts, I think it's going to be hard for the Raza to do.
I agree.
But I think if they could follow it, it's a start.
Right.
I think there's a lot of pointers there that pushes you to the right direction.
Right. Especially, it'll remove a lot of stress. It helps. I know
Yeah.
our people, we're always dealing with stress. Stress, para todo stress.
Well,
The
money
finances
being
are stress, yeah.
Money is stressful.
The financial stress. Then what happens with stress? Your body starts reacting, right? High blood pressure, your cholesterol levels start going up. Diabetes, because now, hey, sabes que I only have a little bit of money. I can only go out to eat from dollar menu, and then
You eat the crappy food.
you eat the crappy food, right? Stuff that's not really good for us. So baby step 1, save $1,000. Baby step 2, pay off all your debt except the mortgage. Baby step 3, save 3 to 6 months of your expenses. My compa Danny says baby step 1 should be at least 6 months, huh?
I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Right. Baby step 4 is invest 15% of your household income. Baby step 5 was the 529, the college fund.
College fund.
Baby step 6, pay off your mortgage. Baby step 7 is build wealth and give. Like,
I can't believe you actually memorized all the 7 steps.
if I could just stick to them, I'd probably be better too.
Yeah, well, that's impressive.
Thank
But
you.
I'll stick to
When you
them.
have OCD, you obsess about stuff and you want to know it all. And yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, next week or next time, let's talk about like I know Dave Ramsey also talks about it like whole insurance versus
The different type of
Group
life.
insurance,
Well,
yeah.
we'll have to touch the subject. When do you need life insurance? Because I don't think everybody needs life insurance.
You don't think so?
No.
Hmm.
But we could talk about that later
Yeah.
because I think.
Well,
we can talk about-
I don't know if you remember, there was a couple years back, maybe a decade ago, there was this person going out on Skid Row finding people, putting them on giving them life insurances. He found us.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. We'll do that one next week then. 'Cause
Let's do
this,
it.
this one went on longer than I thought it was gonna go.
Okay.
Okay.
Vamos para la próxima.
If you want to hear more stories like this, please click the like button and subscribe.
Find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.